She could have given us peace. She's chosen not to.
As a father, I think to some extent today's proceedings are worse than losing Renae.
A coroner has condemned the lies told by a woman who catfished her best friend, ultimately leading to the 20-year-old's tragic suicide. New South Wales Deputy State Coroner Elaine Truscott determined that Camilla Zaydan's actions were the main cause of the emotional pain that led Renae Marsden to take her own life. According to the findings, Zaydan, 27, pretended to be a fictional boyfriend named Braden Spiteri, manipulating Renae for her own romantic interests. Zaydan not only lied to Renae, but also to her family and the police during the investigation. The coroner stated these lies added to the family's pain and intensified their suffering. The fabricated relationship ended when Braden broke up with Renae. Hours later, in deep heartbreak, Renae ended her life. Ms. Truscott explained that Zaydan created the Braden character to exert control over Renae and manipulated her further by having Braden end the relationship after Renae decided to cut ties with Zaydan. Renae believed Braden was a real person, loved him deeply, and was even prepared to wait for him to be released from prison so they could marry. Renae, a young hairdresser and receptionist, took her life on August 5, 2013, at a Sydney cliffside known as The Gap. Her body was never recovered, but the coroner found she had fallen to her death shortly after Braden ended their relationship. The court heard that Zaydan, who was described as controlling and violent, used Braden's character to manipulate Renae. Zaydan claimed Renae knew Braden was fake and that they had created him to hide a supposed secret romantic relationship between them, but the coroner rejected this. Ms. Truscott found no evidence to support this claim and confirmed that Renae genuinely believed Braden was real. Zaydan's lies even extended to Renae's grieving mother, Renae Marsden. She falsely told Teresa that Renae had taken her own life because she was unhappy at home. Zaydan also joined Teresa in searching for Renae, even taking her to a house she claimed belonged to Braden's sister, adding further layers to the deception. Renae never met Braden in person but communicated with him through texts and Facebook messages from a special phone Zaydan had purchased. Braden was portrayed as a wealthy and educated man with a promising future. Renae became deeply attached to him, despite warnings from friends and a boyfriend who pointed out similarities between Braden and Zaydan's communication styles. On the day of her death, Renae dressed up, drove to the Gap, and left a message on her car window expressing love for Braden. She sent 3 texts from the cliff, threw her phone into the water, and then took her life. The coroner highlighted a history of violence in Renae and Zaydan's friendship. Renae had told her mother she was scared of Zaydan, who had reportedly hit her, pulled her hair, and grabbed the steering wheel while she was driving. Friends also noticed bruises on Renae caused by Zaydan. Ms. Truscott emphasized the manipulative nature of Zaydan's actions, describing them as a calculated effort to control Renae and exact revenge when their friendship ended. Ms. Truscott revealed that Camilla Zaydan, pretending to be Braden Spiteri, orchestrated a complex web of lies to eliminate any competition for Renae's attention, including her 2 former fiancés. By fabricating Braden's persona, Camilla ensured Renae's relationships with men would not interfere with her control. Camilla freed herself from the jealousy she felt toward Renae's romantic relationships with men, Ms. Truscott said. By creating Braden, she could dominate and manipulate Renae without competition. Police investigations later confirmed that Braden Spiteri never existed. Camilla had assumed his identity and maintained a fabricated, intimate relationship with Renae through thousands of text messages and social media interactions. To sustain the deception, Camilla often claimed Braden was unavailable during her holidays, giving excuses such as medical operations to justify his silence. By September 2012, the line between Camilla and Braden's persona had blurred. Ms. Truscott suggested that Camilla's declining mental health might have played a role in her deep entanglement with the fake identity. In June 2013, Renae confided in Braden that she was ending her friendship with Camilla. In response, Braden, Camilla, resisted and tried to persuade her otherwise. Despite these efforts, Renae firmly stated, "I'm over it. I don't want a friend like that." Ms. Truscott observed, "Little did Renae know this would also mark the beginning of the end of her relationship with Braden." Their relationship was intense, with over 11,000 messages exchanged between March and June 2013. Despite never meeting in person, Renae was deeply in love and secretly planned to marry Braden after her 21st birthday in October 2013. She had even booked a wedding photographer and was browsing bridal dresses online in the weeks leading up to her death. Braden had told Renae he was in Goulburn prison, serving time for a fatal motorcycle accident that killed his friend. He claimed he had traded his prison visitation rights for a reduced sentence, which conveniently justified why they could only communicate through text or Facebook. Photos of Braden, sent by Camilla, showed a muscular, smiling man, further fueling Renae's devotion. Renae's belief in Braden's existence was so strong that she got a tattoo on her chest reading "Be Spiteri." She even bought a prepaid phone for him to use in prison, believing his claims that phones were banned and he couldn't risk speaking over a call. However, the truth unraveled with devastating consequences. On August 5th, 2013, Renae received a message from Braden saying, "I think I need a break, and so do you." Devastated, she drove to The Gap, a cliffside location known for suicides. Hours before her death, she sent her mother a heartbreaking text. "I'm sorry for everything and the pain I will now cause you. When you need to talk to me, just call my name and I'll be there." Moments later, Renae left her shoes neatly behind, threw her phone into the ocean, and ended her life. The court heard that Renae had been struggling with the relationship for some time. In 2012, she overdosed after learning Braden might soon be released from prison. After recovering, she told her mother she was happy to be alive and claimed the relationship had ended. However, Camilla, posing as Braden, re-established contact and manipulated her once more. In early 2013, Renae briefly became engaged to a co-worker, Ian. When Ian demanded she choose between him and Braden, Renae chose the latter, further deepening the emotional manipulation. Ms. Truscott also detailed evidence of Camilla's abusive behavior. Renae had shared with her mother and friends that Camilla had been physically aggressive, including pulling her hair, hitting her, and even grabbing the steering wheel while she was driving. Despite this, Renae maintained her friendship with Camilla, unaware that she was the same person as Braden. Camilla Zayden, who has not been charged with any crime, was subpoenaed earlier this year to testify at the inquest. She claimed that she and Renae had once been romantically involved, but the coroner found no evidence to support this claim. Instead, Ms. Truscott concluded that the two were friends and that Renae had genuinely believed Braden was real. On the day of her death, Renae appeared deeply distressed. A work colleague described her as shaking and crying, saying Braden was being blunt in their messages. This final act of manipulation by Camilla, under the guise of Braden, sealed Renae's fate. Ms. Truscott's findings highlighted the tragic impact of Camilla's actions, describing the elaborate deception as a calculated and cruel attempt to control Renae's life. Phone records revealed that on the day of her death, Renae Marsden exchanged 92 text messages with the fictitious Braden Spiteri, a persona created by her former best friend, Camilla Zaydan. Despite the high volume of messages, Renae only shared one with her boyfriend, Joseph. It was a message where Braden suggested they take a break as a couple, a statement that left her heartbroken. Struggling with the emotional weight of the breakup, Renae left work early and attempted to contact Goulburn Prison to speak with Braden, whom she believed was an inmate there. However, her calls did not go through. By the time she returned home, a disturbing text had already been sent from Braden's number to her mother, Renae Marsden. The message read, "Sort your daughter out. She's thinking of killing herself." Alarmed, Teresa confronted Renae, asking if the claim was true. Renae quickly dismissed the idea, reassuring her mother, "Don't be stupid. I would never do that." She continued, trying to comfort her mother. "Mum, you don't need to worry about him anymore. Mum, it's all over." However, later that night, Renae sent her final text messages to 3 people, her mother, Braden, and Camilla Zayden. These were her last known communications. Shortly afterward, she drove to The Gap, a notorious cliffside in Sydney, and ended her life. After Renae's death, her devastated mother, Teresa, sent multiple text messages to Braden's number, demanding answers. Her texts went unanswered. Camilla, maintaining the fabricated story, told Teresa that Braden had confided in her and was upset about being blamed for Renae's tragic death. During the inquest into Renae's death, Deputy State Coroner Elaine Truscott reviewed the details of Camilla's involvement. Zaidan had been subpoenaed to testify in February, but refused to admit that Renae was unaware of Braden's fictional nature. Ms. Truscott noted that catfishing, while not specifically recognized as a crime under the Crimes Act, involves a complex form of deception that can be used to manipulate, abuse, or control victims. The offense of using a communication service to menace, harass, or offend, which carries a maximum penalty of 3 years in prison, was considered during the inquiry, but its applicability in this case remains unclear. Ms. Truscott emphasized the need for legislative changes to address catfishing and the harm it causes. Ms. Truscott described catfishing as a calculated form of deception, where an individual creates a fake identity to manipulate or exploit others. She stated that Renae Marsden took her life because of someone who doesn't exist, and highlighted the need for society and the legal system to respond to the severity of such cases. As part of her formal recommendations, Ms. Truscott urged the Nestaol's Domestic Violence Death Review Team to conduct a comprehensive investigation into Renae's case and consider ways to prevent similar incidents in the future. The inquest also shed light on the controlling and obsessive behavior Camilla exhibited throughout her friendship with Renae. Friends and family described Renae as a cheerful, bubbly, and optimistic person who always tried to see the best in others. However, her interactions with Camilla painted a darker picture. Witnesses testified that Camilla often stalked Renae, showing up uninvited at places she frequented and parking outside her home for hours. On one occasion, Renae told Camilla she wanted to end their friendship, leading to a dramatic confrontation. Renae Marsden had to step in when Camilla pleaded, "You don't mean it. You don't mean it." Despite Renae's attempts to distance herself, Camilla continued to exert control over her life, often criticizing her boyfriends and demanding that Renae choose between them. Renae, however, stood her ground, telling Camilla that there would always be another person in her life and that she could not continue their friendship under such conditions. This rejection likely fueled Camilla's obsession, leading her to create the fictional character of Braden to maintain a hold over Renae's emotions. Even in the aftermath of Renae's death, Camilla's manipulative behavior did not cease. She falsely claimed to Renae Marsden that Braden had spoken to her, adding another layer of torment to an already grieving family. She even accompanied Teresa in a supposed search for Braden, leading her to a house that she claimed belonged to Braden's sister. The Marsden family, particularly Renae's parents, Teresa and Mark, attended every hearing during the inquest, determined to honor their daughter's memory and seek justice. They have since called for catfishing to be officially recognized as a criminal offense, arguing that Renae's case demonstrates the devastating impact this form of manipulation can have on victims and their loved ones. Renae's tragic story underscores the dangers of online deception and the emotional devastation it can cause. Her family hopes that raising awareness of her case will lead to stronger protections and prevent similar tragedies from occurring in the future. Outro. If Renee's heartbreaking story has moved you, don't leave without sharing your thoughts in the comments below. Your voice matters, and we'd love to hear your perspective. Let's start a conversation about the dangers of online manipulation and how we can protect others from similar tragedies. And remember, by liking this video and subscribing to our channel, you're helping us spread awareness and bring attention to important issues like this one. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update on stories that need to be heard. Together, we can make a difference. One like, one share, and one voice at a time. Thank you for watching and stay safe out there. You're not alone.